Hello, this is saxophonist Antonio Parker, and this is A Conversation in Jazz, where we are promoting jazz through telling the stories. Today, we are presenting part 2 of our interview with the wonderful jazz vocalist, Miss Sharon Clark. We ask you to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon so we can let you know when we are posting another video or going live. We also ask you to donate to our Cash App in order to support the channel and help us to produce future videos. Our Cash App is $Jazzology 101. That's $Jazzology 101. Enjoy the video. All right, we're back. This is A Conversation in Jazz, and we're talking to the lovely Miss Sharon Clark. Hello. Sharon, woo, that was a powerful first.
Got a lot off my chest.
Yes.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. Are you a diva?
Sometimes a diva has a negative connotation.
Yeah.
I hope to God not. Not in that way.
Yeah. But
no, I'm not.
What is a diva, by the way? That's what I.
My thing is a diva is somebody who is trying to command respect as opposed to naturally coming.
Gotcha.
You got to rely on that divaness to stand out instead of your,
So you
don't
just
need
who you
to
are.
be
You
there.
just Sharon.
Yeah, I'm just Sharon.
Gotcha.
I've grown and known too much to stand back and be, commanding and hard to work with. I don't have that kind of time.
Wow. Yeah. Now we talk. How just overall, how has this musical journey been for you? Like when you look at the whole landscape of where you come from and what you're doing now, how has it been?
It's been a wonderfully confusing, happy journey.
Okay.
Because one step always leads to a higher step.
Yeah.
Like a winding staircase. Mm-hmm. You can see it going up, but you're just not necessarily able to see what's at the top.
Yeah.
And it's a never-ending type of spiral upward.
Yeah. You know what? I've come to understand that most people yearn for attention. And a lot of times when they see you on a stage, people think, oh, you're in the light, and they see the lights on you and all that, that you're getting people are clapping. And do you process that as I'm getting attention, or I'm working?
It's more like I'm working.
Yeah.
I mean, because, what I've learned in this business is who am I getting attention from? My dad, you have to consider your source. Mm-hmm. There's somebody out in that audience that will clap because a dog got up and did this, just like they'll clap for me. I mean, a lot of times you get points just for getting on stage.
Yeah, yeah.
But if somebody that is in the business, somebody who is knowledgeable about the music, comes and gives me their attention, I'm not going to say the other attention is not important, but that attention is what catches my eye.
Gotcha. What is the most fulfilling aspect of what you do?
It's when we get there and the show is over.
It's over?
When it's over,
okay.
And the band tells me, man, you were smoking tonight.
Wow.
That, my musicians mean a lot to me.
Yeah.
And like I said, I try to surround myself with the most truthful. Somebody who's not afraid to tell me, I wasn't hitting it. Don't do it in that key no more. Yeah. I mean, I consider that a successful show when they look at me and say you were smoking, because I know they're going to always tell me the truth.
You ever perform and you have a synergy with the audience? Like it's like it's like I've had those moments, man, where and you in your element, and you know that it's because I consider the audience a part of the music.
Right.
You know.
Right.
And when they are really, when you it's the synergy that develops, and you know, because sometimes I play and I ain't feeling it. Then there's times I'm playing and I feel like I can play with whatever comes to mind. You know, the audience. You ever had those moments?
Yeah, and that happens a lot. You know, I know you've Westminster.
Yeah.
You know, when you go down to Westminster.
Yes.
That crowd down there, first of all, they know jazz. They know what they're talking about.
Yes.
And when you get on that stage at Westminster,
yes,
it all comes undone.
And they love you.
And they love it. They love.
Yeah.
They love.
Yeah.
They love the whole idea.
And they love. Yeah. It's a beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. And sometimes, you know, when I do those gigs at Westminster, I realize how much I am loved. I realize that these people, they're not just clapping because it's me. They really are absorbing.
Let me tell you something. I ain't gonna say her name, send me through this little COVID thing. Just send me out of nowhere a love offering.
Yeah.
And that's just so you can make sure you do.
Right.
And that's
right.
It's beautiful, you know. Yeah. So it's a lot of love.
Yeah, at Westminster,
yeah.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Some of the people at Westminster were the first ones to reach out to me when this all happened. I mean, and when you have a family situation like that, I feel the same thing when I go to Denmark. And I perform at Montmartre Jazz House there. The place is not much bigger than this place. But the synergy, because these people, first of all, a lot of them were still around when Thigpen was there, when Dexter Gordon was there, and
they know how
what it is. They know how it's supposed to go.
Yes.
And so that's synergy there.
Yeah,
it's like
wow. What strategies did? And I know we talked about some of your struggles. What strategies did you use to overcome? I mean, was your faith?
My faith and trying to, achieve my goals, and one of my things was try not to take things too personally. I don't care if it's a compliment. I don't care if it's something mean.
Gotcha.
Don't take it too personally, because don't let stuff go to your head, even the compliments.
Wow, that's heavy.
You got to keep everything in perspective.
Yeah, that's heavy.
And if you don't keep it in perspective, you can get out there hoping and wishing and praying that everybody and everything will like you. There's some people who are not going to like the way I sound, and I understand that, because there's some people out there I don't like the way they sound. So how come somebody can't like what I do?
Wow.
So we have to keep things into perspective. Go out there knowing that you're prepared, knowing that you know what you can do, and keep my eyes on my own plate. And don't get intimidated by stuff that's around you. Yeah. Because it's like, you ever been, like when you were a kid and you go into the spooky house at the carnival?
Yeah.
And these little lame, we just screamed because it was supposed to, but these little lame things would come, supposed to scare you. That's what it is. These little lame things that come jumping out of nowhere to try to shake you off of your path.
Yeah, no doubt. You got to keep the course.
And like I said, there was many a times that I wanted to go to New York to perform. A door wouldn't open for me. Wow. And I was like, practically paying these people. I'm like, look, I'll do this, just give me a chance, and blah, blah, blah. New York wouldn't open up to me until I went to Moscow. Wow. And the Russian people who had friends in New York said, have you heard of this lady?
Wow.
So that's why I said I got to New York by way of Moscow.
Wow, that's heavy.
Yeah.
But that's why I don't, man, I'm a spiritual kind of cat. However you call it. I just follow that, the spirit, and God opened them doors. Because you can't plan all this stuff.
You can't plan it. How did I, after years and years of trying to get into New York, I go to Moscow, because when in 2009, it was a catalyst year for me, because I lost my job, and a few days after I lost my job, well, before that, Chris and I had done this video at Westminster, and we posted it on YouTube.
Wow.
And a promoter in St. Petersburg saw it.
Wow.
And so, of course, for booking information, blah, 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 he emailed Chris Grasso. And Chris said, well, the English is so bad, you know, but I think he wants you for a gig. And so I have a friend who's fluent in Russian. We went to high school together, and she communicated with him. By the time she got finished communicating, he had sent a $2,000 deposit, money plus money for my visa.
Wow.
And the flight ticket round trip. All sight unseen.
Wow.
I said, man, this cat must really be serious. I mean, I could have taken that $2,000 and went to Red Lobster for you.
So there's an element of faith in this thing.
Yeah, it's an element of faith.
And before I remember when you told us about the experience losing a job. Because I asked you, because some people are full-time musicians.
Right.
Some people I'm a teacher, I got a day job, and you know, now you were doing both at one time?
At one time I was doing both.
Okay.
And raising my little girl.
And raising you.
I was chasing myself.
Okay. And then you lost the job.
Yeah, the job, and I think that sometimes the devil thinks he's playing you out, but he's playing you up.
Yeah.
It was a setup. It was a set out to get set up.
Wow.
Because if I had been on that job, I wouldn't be where I would probably still, and God knows I'd probably be still sitting at that job because I liked the job.
Yeah, yeah.
The money was good, and I loved what I was doing and everything because I like people.
Yeah.
And God knows that this fool will be sitting here for the next 20 years if I allow it, you know. And so when I was fired, I laid on my couch and cried for 3 days.
Wow.
And we had, you know, the hearing for unemployment and all that kind of stuff. But that took 30 days. And so I laid on my couch, and while I was there crying, asking God, what did I do so wrong? And I did nothing wrong. And so when through no fault of your own, something happens, it's a setup.
Wow.
Through no fault of you did nothing wrong.
And sometimes your gift will take you places.
It'll make room for you.
You know, and you have this voice. It is rich. It's voluptuous. You know, it's sultry, succulent. Succulent.
Like some duck. Like a duck. A succulent duck.
Yeah. And so your gift, and people feel that. People. It touches people in a certain type of way.
Yeah, and you can't touch people if you haven't lived through stuff.
Yeah, and so that's just a testament to following that inner thing. You know. And is that something that you teach your daughter and you teach people that you come in contact with?
Yeah, and I try to give you know, while I'm her mom, while she's still under, you know, my care, the only thing I can do is give her, when she turns 18 and stuff, I said, you're going to have to start making decisions for yourself.
Yeah.
And I said, just always keep this in mind. If something comes up, should I do this? And something comes up, you're not sure, or you're half scared. Guess what? You're probably making the wrong decision.
Yeah. Wow.
Think about that. And I told this, I said, if you stay in there and say, well, Mommy approve if I do this. If you have to ask yourself that question, guess what? Yeah. Mommy's not going to approve that.
Wow.
And so she's pretty much, you know, taking her own, you know, route. Yeah. But I had to spend a lot of time re-raising myself.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
Because some of the same stuff that she was going through, I was like, wait a minute, I recognize that demon. And it's going to try to work on her self-esteem. Yeah. So I had to jump on that.
Yeah.
But that whole experience, I mean, with Russia for 5 years, 300-something concerts. Wow. And sometimes we'd be on the road where you could only stay there for a month. And 29 of those nights we were traveling.
And getting paid? They treated you good, didn't they?
Yeah, they treated me good. Yeah. And then on that 30th, we got to get you to Ukraine. I had to leave the country because that visa was only good for 1 month. 30 days. You had to leave on day 29. He always had me go to Ukraine, chalk out, and then I had to come back to Russia. Wow. Just one day. So that's how they kept track of you.
Yeah.
And then I started getting so popular because I was flying under the radar as far as getting a visa for work. And then it got to the point where they couldn't hide it anymore, and I had to get a work permit to go there because it'd be a $10,000 fine if you know.
Yeah.
So they went ahead and paid for it. So I'd get visas for 3 years to travel there.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's beautiful. Wow. Let's go. I want to talk about the song.
Okay.
You know, how important is song selection in terms of for you?
Yeah, there has to be some sort of connection with the lyric for me.
Okay.
This and everybody says, "Which is your favorite song?" I said it depends on what the situation is.
Wow.
The past since 11 years now, minus this past year, I spent most of my life in hotels, and I got so desperate to stay in a hotel. At one point, I want to just pack a bag and go to a hotel and stay in it.
Wow.
And there's this song called "The Hotel" that I sing about, and this is my song for right now.
Wow.
So, and the lyrics, you know, they matched what I was going through when I stayed in this one particular hotel in Bern with somebody that I cared about and everything.
Yeah.
And so that song came up.
Wow. And so do you get into the character of the lyrics?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's all part of it. So you have a process of how you learn a song? I mean, like when you're learning a new song, are you listening to it over and over?
I listen to it over and over again. I try to, now it's really funny because I'm going to be in a film.
Really?
Called A Night in Tunisia. Smokey Stevenson. I play the role of Sister Sadie, who owns it. And the movie's about Vocalist and all that kind of stuff. And so we're filming here. I think we're going to film here in D.C. But I'm learning the script now, and so I use those same principles. Learning the script as I do a song.
Wow,
what is this song
beautiful.
about?
Yeah.
Look for the keywords, and then eventually all the words will start coming, because, I have, soliloquy or dialogue.
And words have power.
They do.
And I'm learning it later because
that's why you got to be careful what you call your kids.
Yeah.
Words have power,
Yeah,
and they say sticks and stones and break my bones. Words will be the first one to break you down.
Yeah. So that's very important. Song lyrics. So do you write?
I have lyrics, but they're so personal. I said, everybody gonna say, no, I'm talking about me. But my sister told me, you need to get out of that shell.
Yeah, put it out there.
And put it out there. And so
you don't ever want to hear your song, like when you do a recording or something, and this...
That's stuff that I write down, man. It's so personal.
Really? Yeah, but that's what...
I know.
That's what...
Well, that's what Matthias Nilsson, he's my piano player in Sweden, he said, that's the juice that people are looking for. He said, if you tell me, share it, then I'll put some music to it. And so I'm going to start breaking out with that. I mean, everybody else is.
How would you describe your music? I know it's jazz.
It's jazz. It's jazz.
These are blues. You have blues in there.
Yeah. You have to have. If you're gonna have jazz, you gotta have some blues.
Does some of your gospel carry over into it? Depend on the song.
Depend on the song. Yeah.
Do you sing R&B as well?
I can, but like I said, I'm a jazz. And like everybody ain't gotta be everything. I mean, if you're having a heart problem, a podiatrist might show you how to stay alive until the cardiologists get there.
Yeah, because you see nowadays people are blending all the different styles of music. You stay with the traditional.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm all the way jazz.
Yeah,
but I like the old Motown stuff too because they're coming right out of that swing era.
Yeah.
And everything works, and I have a set for a lot of things, but when I do my jazz, that's what you're going to feel it the most. And like I tell, I said, doctors are, you could be a general doctor, somebody who can do a little bit of everything. But if you need a specialist, somebody to keep you alive with your heart, the general is going to say, go to this guy.
Exactly.
And I want people to say, if you want straight ahead jazz, go to Sharon Clark.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So... how do you know when you own a song? When that song, like Lullaby Birdland, you own. Mm-hmm. I heard you sing that
years ago.
Yeah, you own that. You know what I'm saying? How do you get to that point where you own the song?
Well, it's the lyric, like I said, the lyric for me. And it's just some things that, will, I think that people are like heat-seeking missiles. Sometimes when that fire is on the inside of you, a tune will find you, and it's like, bam.
Wow.
And you can, do like that.
That's heavy.
Yeah. Well, and it's going to shine through. Mm-hmm. Like when you hear me sing this song, Hotel, I mean, I shock myself with that thing. Wow. And Dotto Marino, piano player, he was in the audience one night when I was performing in, this was during the Jazz Winterfest last year. And he came to my show, and I was like, what?
Wow.
The Dotto is like that.
Wow, that's crazy. And
he came upstairs, and he said, I felt every song that you sang.
Woo,
and I was like, and this is what I'm saying, consider the source.
Yeah.
He's saying, I felt everything you say. He says, you know how to put a song across. Mm-hmm. And that comes back from my classical background, where you might be singing something in Italian or singing something in French. You know what it's about, but you have to emote that to people, because a lot of people are not speaking Italian or French.
My kid's mother, my former wife, she sings classical.
Oh,
so
wow.
I used to see her learning singing. So I understand, with them different languages and that sort of thing. Wow. So you also incorporate scat singing.
Oh yeah.
Into, not everybody does, not all, how did you develop that skill?
Well, I started, Keita Betts is a friend of mine, and I've always loved scat singing and everything. And I did, I was struggling, listening to horn players. That's where you can copy that stuff and get an idea and develop your own language by listening to people like Betty Carter and Ella Fitzgerald, Sarah Vaughan. And then you build your own language. And, of course, Keita was on the road with Ella Fitzgerald for years.
Yeah.
And one time he played for me, and he heard me struggling. And, Keita, he said, darling, you're only a half step away from the right note.
Okay.
And so a lot of times Keita would just play the bass. He said, listen to the bass and build on that.
Okay.
He said, and that's why I always have a badass bass player.
Yeah.
Because if I can't hear that bass note, then I don't know how to build my house.
So you build off that bass?
I build off the bass, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to start doing that.
Work with a bass player.
Yeah.
And then, and like most of my singers that want to scat sing, I always suggest get somebody getting a recording of just playing the blues. Because you know what's coming next. You're not going to be surprised by any changes. And start and doing da, do, or whatever you want over top of a blues.
Gotcha. So let me ask you, do you have perfect pitch?
No.
But you have great, you hear, just when I play with you, I say, you swing and got great ear.
Yeah.
Is that just
I think it's just, when you sing with madrigals groups, it's a cappella.
Oh, okay.
And you have to stay with.
Wow.
You have to stay within you have to sing on key, or you'll bring the whole group down.
Do you play piano as well?
I play a little bit. I want to get back into it though.
Okay. So when you learn a song, are you able to play the chords?
I can play the chord and then pick away at the melody.
Okay. Wow. So let's talk about teaching. Do you have students?
I had students. I have one lady that I'm working with now. We're working on the breathing thing because a lot of students, the first thing, like I said, a lot of them want to start at square 4 instead of starting at square 1.
Yeah.
Square 1 is breathing, breathing. Yeah. Knowing when to breathe, how to breathe. Yeah. We got to start there.
Yeah. Like I told you before that I remember I was at one of the, at the Mid-Atlantic Jazz Festival, and you and Chris Grasso, y'all were leading a workshop on, was that some of the concepts you were teaching?
Yeah, we try to do everything we can, inside that little time we have. But if I could just teach on breathing, I said that's half your battle. Having the confidence to know that you're going to be able to make a phrase without taking a breath in the middle of it.
Wow. Beautiful. Have you heard the Howard University's the jazz group called Afro Blue.
Yeah, I love them.
Ain't they wonderful?
Yeah.
Professor Miller.
Yes.
She's done a wonderful job with.
Yes, we're waiting to hear from them because London wants to go to Howard.
Really?
She was already accepted to Morgan State. She says, Mommy, I want to hang. She wants to hang out for Howard. So.
Yeah.
That's where I wanted to go too.
Yeah.
Hint. I taught it. Yeah. I taught at Howard. You know, when they have like the vocal teachers, the jazz vocal teachers go on vacation and stuff.
Okay.
Nature will give me a call and everything.
Oh, beautiful. Talking about my man Chris Grasso, wonderful pianist. Chris is your musical director?
Yeah.
And what has it been working with Chris as your musical director?
It's almost hands off for me. He does all the
heavy lifting.
He does all. Really, he does. Mm-hmm. Because, like I said before, he has the capacity to deal with people.
Gotcha.
And I can too, until you
push
go
down.
left.
Yeah.
And then this filter leaves, and you see another side. And and then when that happens, you get the reputation for being a bitch. And I don't want that kind of reputation. And so he handles most of that. Matthias Nilsson handles most of that. They have the decorum that I don't have. But he,
Do you have a manager, like a personal manager? Or okay. But you got your they call this your, it's a book called Think and Grow Rich. You have to build your
network or something?
It's a network. It's called a Mastermind Alliance. And in that book, it talks about people, like when you put two minds together, it becomes another mind.
Right.
And so when you like-minded people, and you put, and it helps to strengthen, and so he's part of your mastermind.
Yeah, we've been,
as well as the music, like Paul Carr.
Yeah.
I know Michael Bowie.
Right. Yeah.
Zach Pride, James King,
Eric
Lenny
Glazer.
Robinson.
Yeah, Lenny Robinson. Yeah.
And so those are what we call your mastermind.
My acre people.
Yeah. And so it's good to have and it's something about performing with people, and y'all know each other.
Right.
Y'all know what each other brings to the table. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It makes it just easy.
It's just easy. It's just easy.
Yeah, it just makes it easy, and especially when you've been playing together for so over long. Many years, It's
one this was maybe 7 or 8 years ago when I was in New York, and John DiMartino, piano player in New York, he was booking these gigs in India and everything. And he told me one night, he says, I was going to talk to Chris to see if I could take you to India for a month or so. And I said, why you have to talk to Chris? And he says, that's your husband, right? And I was like, no.
That's funny.
And I said, even if he was my husband, why you going to talk to Chris? Well, he said, everybody thought you'd think you're married. I said, so is that why I can't get a date?
That's funny.
It's so funny.
Oh, that's funny. But so does Chris does he shape some of your arrangements and that sort of thing?
We work on arrangements together. I tell him this is what I want to do. There are sometimes when I bring him songs, he's like, oh man, because I love country and Western music.
Gotcha.
I love country, and I bought him this one song. I said, we got to do this. And he was like, Sharon, are you sure? I said, absolutely sure. And so we went back and forth a little bit. And then he said, and you were right. This song is good.
Yeah.
So we wound up going to New York and getting reviewed by the New York Times and Wall Street Journal. I mean, we really hit big.
Yeah. So does Chris travel with you when you
when I can. Most of my European man is Matthias Nilsson.
Okay.
So when I go over there. But we did get the opportunity to go to Bern last January.
Beautiful.
For Marion's jazz room in Bern. That was cool.
Wow. And how did y'all meet? When did y'all meet?
It was, let me see, maybe I'm thinking it was before London was born. So we've known almost 20 years, and I called him for a gig. He subbed on a couple of gigs, and then he kept calling me and kept calling me and kept calling me. And then we had such a good relationship.
Yeah, that's important, yeah.
It is so important to have a good relationship.
Yeah.
And
he knows how to play for vocalists.
He knows it. Yes.
Yeah, he's you
yes.
know. Now, is he part of the thing that you do with the workshop?
Well, he used to come and sub sometime. I think when we first started, he played piano for a little while.
Okay.
And then he had some other stuff that he had to do. And then if I needed him, if he was available and I needed him, he would come and play.
Okay, cool.
But usually that Sundays are his days that, he spent with Brett because, that was Brett's day off.
Okay.
So.
Beautiful. Yeah. I need me a musical director.
Yeah, it's somebody, it takes a lot off.
How come you never got a manager?
Well, no management team would pick me up. Wow. I tried. I
guess you don't need one now.
It's one
You took out the middleman.
This one management company wanted to pick me up. He wanted me so bad he could taste me. But the booking place that he normally worked with, he tried to present me to them. And they said, unless she's making $300,000 a year, we can't touch her. And I said, if I was making $300,000 a year, I wouldn't need your ass. You know what I mean? If I could do that on my own. So that was just an excuse. But, everything works out. Everything's works out, and it's working out.
Now, you mentioned some of these places you performed. I was going to say, you've had live performances at numerous festivals and venues locally, nationally, internationally. Some of these are the Duke Ellington Jazz Festival, which is now the DC Jazz Festival, right?
Jazz, yeah.
The Cape May Jazz Festival. You performed at the Kennedy Center.
Yeah.
Now, you toured Turkey.
That was
the Republic of, what's that, Kyrgyzstan? How do you say
Kyrgyzstan.
it? Kyrgyzstan?
Kyrgyzstan.
Okay.
Kyrgyzstan. Yeah, Kyrgyzstan.
Okay, Kyrgyzstan. And Russia.
I've been to all them stands. Stan and all his brothers except for Afghanistan.
As well as Israel.
Wow.
You featured with the Smithsonian Jazz Masterworks Orchestra.
The Duke Ellington Orchestra.
The Duke Ellington Orchestra? Yeah. Oh, wow. The Richmond Symphony
Orchestra.
At the Savannah Music Festival.
The Vladivostok Symphony Orchestra. That's way in the way. So
you're developing a large international fan base. Is it particularly in Russia, or is this in different places?
Well, I've been to Taiwan. I went to South Africa for the first time in last.
Oh, look at you!
Yeah, I got to say year before last, because I remember I have to keep in mind 2020 was a wash, and when I think back last year, I'm thinking actually 2019.
So you've been eating good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, man, you get $1.
Yeah, I was South Africa. I was in Cape Town.
Wow, beautiful.
And let's see, I really want to go back to Cape Town. I love Cape Town. It's beautiful.
I've been to West and North Africa. I've never been to South Africa.
Yeah, I want to go to West Africa. I want to do a tour of Africa.
Yeah, I've been to 8 countries in Africa.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which ones?
I've been to Nigeria, Ghana, Togo, Zaire, Morocco, Tunisia, and Egypt.
Oh, well, that's cool.
Yeah,
State Department or?
Yeah, it was the State Department with all but Egypt. With Egypt, I went over there with the Smithsonian Jazz Masterworks Orchestra.
Okay.
Yeah, so, but, oh, man.
Because the last time I saw you, you were heading out.
Yeah,
we were, it was me and
we were
Zach.
going to London. Yeah, and you were going.
We were going to Denmark.
Yeah,
Denmark and Sweden.
Zach is a bad bass player. I love
and they ate him up over there.
And I love him. He's a beautiful person too.
We had a ball.
Yeah, but I remember that.
Yeah.
We were going. I think we were going to. Were we going to London? And y'all were going to. We were going to Denmark.
Denmark.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. That it's a. I'm telling you, when I get out the country, I don't think about no problems over here. It's like I'm totally like in the moment. You know what I'm saying? I remember when I went to when I did Africa. That's the first time I felt human. Like really, where people didn't judge you by how you looked,
right?
But they just accepted you. It's a beauty. I don't even know how to explain it to people.
Yeah,
it's like people just your energy. They can because they can feel your energy because And so it's a beautiful thing. So I know exactly.
Like South Africa, man.
I would love to
live there.
Really?
I could live there.
Really?
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
I want to go to the Serengeti. I want to go see the lions in
The reserves. Yeah.
I want to see it. I get on YouTube and watch that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, to go on one of those, we just didn't have time because we were only going to be there for a week and we had to cover a lot of ground. Wow. But I'd love to go back.
Wow, so you are in your element. Yeah. Like you are that with this international, and you're building that audience. Beautiful. Keep doing what you're doing because that's where it's at.
That's where it's at. For me, London's going to college in the fall, and so I'm going to Europe in the fall, and my schedule will mirror her by approximately 3 months. Then I'll come back. Okay. Because I can only stay in Europe for 3 months at a time, 90 days at a time.
Now, when you go overseas, do you play with the local music? Okay.
But sometimes. Like when I got the State Department stuff for Ukraine, for the Ukrainian Jazz Festival, I was able to bring my guys from here.
Oh, wow.
And so I bought Chris, and it was Michael O'Brien out of New York, and Brown, what's the bass player? Brown.
Bass player?
No, drummer. Brown. I can't think of his first name. I'm having a moment. Jason Brown.
Jason, okay.
I wanted to take Lenny, but Lenny had to have surgery, and so
I remember that. Yeah,
I got the cats out of New York, and we all went to Ukraine for a week, and we had a ball.
Let's talk about New York. You said you went via Moscow to get to New York.
Yeah, New York.
Now, where did you perform in New York?
Well, the first place that introduced me to New York was Oleg Frisch, and he has a Russian TV cable station. And so some friends of his who live in Moscow asked if he said, "Can you come up and do a TV interview?"
Wow.
And so I came up there to do that. I mean, and then after that, Chris booked us at the Metropolitan Room. And that's where we got all of our wonderful reviews. And when I got there, I was telling a singer that used to be here, and I said, I was all excited, I'm going to be at the Metropolitan Room. And she was like, the Metropolitan Room? And I was like, yeah. She said, jazz people don't play that room. And I said, oh, they don't. I said, well, I'm glad I'm there then.
Wow.
And so I said, since they know how I'm running down there, I said, there'll be something new.
They knew that.
Yeah, they knew that. And then a couple of months later, here they come. I was like, I thought jazz people didn't play the Metropolitan Room. And so I did the Metropolitan Room, and then we went to the Iridium, and let's see, where else? And then Dizzy's Coca-Cola Room.
Okay.
And so
wow. Yeah, so you know it. So you the queen now. The queen.
Well, you're
the queen. Yes, you're the queen.
Queenie.
The queenie. Queenie. Mm-hmm. Okay, you the queenie. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. You also have some recordings.
Yes.
Before we get to your recordings, what was it? Do you remember your very first international tour?
The very first international tour was in Russia, and it was it was nothing like I'd ever seen before. I mean, I was thinking that Russia was going to be it's huge, number one, but I thought it was going to be like this. But it's very, very. I mean, I now I realize that the infrastructure, it's very, it's on the up and up building. Because I've been on some roads there that, and ridden in cars that wouldn't pass inspection in nobody's state.
Really? I mean, what was your audience like?
The audience was, I mean, if you perform a lot in the U.S., people can be talky, chatty, whatever. Yeah. I got in that Philharmonic Hall, you could hear a pin drop.
Wow.
And when you have these old Russian people come up to me, they can't even speak English, but they can say Voice of America, Ella Fitzgerald, Sarah Vaughan, because they used to have to sneak these little transistor radios. I mean, they could actually get a fine for listening to jazz, but they remembered the days when it was closed, and the only thing they could do was go in their basement or something and turn on the Voice of America so that they can listen to the jazz.
Wow, that's wonderful.
Yeah, and to get a tour like that, like I said, we were hitting cities that most Russians had never been to. When I tell people, I say, "Oh, I've been to Kamchatka," they say, "You've been to Kamchatka?" I said, "I've been to Vladivostok." You've been to Vlad? I said, "Yeah, I've been to Magadha." There's probably not a place in Russia that you can name that I haven't been to.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So you in there?
We were in there. In there.
Go ahead, my sister.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And then that opened the door to Sweden. And I mean,
wow.
And now we're making headway in Sweden. I mean, last year.
It's your time. It's your season.
Yeah, and last year it was.
And you know,
this
is what all them dudes. This is what it was preparing you for.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But I wasn't prepared for last year because when you get home, I got home from Denmark on March the 5th last year, and a week later, I got email after email.
Oh yeah.
Canceled.
Yeah.
What on?
Yeah, we're gonna talk about.
Yeah. And
that just
last April, I was supposed to go back to Scandinavia and Russia and down to Sao Paulo, Brazil. First time going to South America.
Yeah. Wow.
Supposed to come back the month of July. I was supposed to hit Spain from top to bottom.
Wow.
Culminating at the Heineken Jazz Festival, opening for Kirk Allen. I mean, that was supposed to be it.
Yeah.
But
don't worry about bigger and better things are coming. You know what I'm saying? You know, things. You know, there's got to be a reason for the season.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some of your recordings. Mm-hmm. Now, your very first recording was called "Finally."
Yeah.
Finally, what?
Finally, I was like, finally, I got a recording. Yeah. You know, because I waited for a long time to.
Yeah, and you finally
got one.
Who's some of the musicians on your first?
Jim Levy.
Uh-huh.
He was the one that sponsored it, really. Jim Levy, Pepe Gonzalez,
Pepe,
Nasser,
yeah.
Abiday, Paul Carr, of course, Peter Fraze, and Ricky Losa.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful cat. Wonderful musicians.
Oh, man.
You have a thing called Do It Again?
Mm-hmm, that was my tribute to Shirley Horn.
Did you ever meet? I'm sure you met Shirley Horn.
Yeah.
Did you know her? Like, did you know her personally?
Yeah, I used to call her Aunt Shirley. I mean, whenever I saw her,
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, Warren Shad calls her Aunt Shirley, too. That's his aunt.
Yeah, I mean, like, Shirley, you know.
Yeah.
I was always peeking around the corner.
Yeah. Soulful Serenity?
Soulful Serenity. That's with Paul Carr.
Okay.
And that was 20.
Is that his latest?
That's our latest.
Yeah, y'all latest. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Soulful Serenity. And you did a tribute to Ella Fitzgerald. Right?
It was, that was with
the
Intimate Ella with Joel Martin.
Okay.
Another bad jazzical. He's a cross between jazz and classical.
Really? It's called jazz.
Jazzical. And I met him down at the Savannah Music Festival when I won the American Traditions. Wow. He played for me, and then we did that in honor of her birthday, and it was based off of the album she did with Paul Smith. It was just her and piano.
Oh wow.
I knew a lot of people were going to be coming out with that scat thing and everything, but we tried to mirror that album that she did with just voice and piano.
Wow, beautiful. So.
Oh, and I had my Russian one too.
Huh?
The one I did in Russia.
You did Russian?
Yeah, man, my cat's in Russia.
Really?
Yeah.
What's the name of that one?
It's called Sharon Clark in Russia.
Go ahead, girl.
And all my Russian musicians are on it and everything. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. Now, do you have a process that when you're getting ready to record something, when you're going to do a recording?
A process?
How do you choose the songs? Is there a concept that you say, you know, you just putting songs together?
Pretty much just put songs together. Okay. Songs and stuff that at the time that I really like.
And okay. And so your latest recording is the Soulful
Serenity.
That's with Paul Carr?
Yeah, that's with Paul Carr. Yeah, with the wait a minute. No, the Intimate Ella. That's the latest one because I think we did that in 2017, I believe. That was her 100th birthday year. Mm-hmm. And then, well, Intimate Ella and the Russian one, they both came out, but the one in Russia is released in Russia.
Is that all the recordings?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything for you gonna do something for Sarah?
Yeah, we're gonna. Well, I don't know if we're gonna do anything for Sarah, but me and Paul were talking about doing something again.
Okay.
And I'm gonna do one in Sweden.
Beautiful. You have some awards. You won the gold medal in the Savannah Music Festival's American Traditions competition.
Mm-hmm.
Top prize is 10G.
Yeah, 10G. That's how I was able to finance my Shirley Horn.
Okay, beautiful.
Financing myself.
How that 10G? When you saw that $10,000 check? How did it make
It felt great. I was like, whoa.
You came in first place in the Billie Holiday vocal competition, and you won $2,500.
Yeah.
And you had a featured appearance with the Baltimore Symphony. With
it's nothing like a symphony. Oh, it's nothing like.
What is that like? Is it all them lush strings and all that? Is it beautiful?
Yeah, and the Richmond Symphony Orchestra.
Did you record it?
I don't know if they recorded it or not. They probably did.
Make sure you get some.
I've been trying to get archives of these things. It's like they don't want to let them go.
Really?
I don't know why.
They didn't let you hear at least how it sounds?
I haven't heard. Well, no, because I know they recorded the one in Vladivostok, and that's the one I really want to get my mitts on.
Yeah.
But,
because now, this is what I'm saying. Everything you do and record all your concerts, because it's your legacy. This is, my first album that I heard of Charlie Parker, somebody was just going around the club, just taping them.
Right.
And it's called Bird at St. Nick's. The quality was terrible, but guess what? To me, when I heard it's beautiful. He was playing so much beautiful stuff, and it has value. And some of these things take on more value after we transition.
Right.
So everything matters. So make sure you document all this stuff.
We did. I mean, I know they were recording, and I've written the guy several times because I would like to get a recording of it.
Yeah.
Same thing with the Richmond Symphony Orchestra.
Yeah. Ooh, I would love to hear your voice.
It was, whew.
Wow.
It was almost like, and when you hear not just one bass, but you hear 10 basses going, pulling across those bows, it's almost like the sound lifts you up and it takes you somewhere else. It's just gorgeous. Charlie
Young told me, because he played with orchestra, he said, tone is nothing. He said, man, it's just a great experience to wow. Maybe one day I'll get that experience. I played with a couple of strings here and a couple of strings there. But
just start talking about it.
Yeah.
Talking about it.
Yeah, put it out. Put it out there. Okay. We're going to have some final questions. Okay. First question, you've kind of alluded to this, but go in a little more detail if you would like. What is it like being a mother? And you're a single mother, right?
Yeah, I'm a single mother.
Okay. What has that been like for you?
It's been a wonderful experience. Challenges, yes. It doesn't come with an instruction book. You have to go strictly on not totally how I was raised, because some of that stuff was messed up, and I realized that. But sometimes you have to rely on your instinct. And I might be wrong and I might be right. Yeah. I might have to go back and apologize later because I made a wrong decision or a right. But at the end of the day, even though she's 17 years old now, getting ready to go to college, taller than me.
Wow.
Sometimes I know I did the right thing when she comes and crawls in the bed with me and just wants to be a little girl again.
Wow. Beautiful.
It's a safe place.
Yeah, James King gave me the best advice. He said, man, just do your best.
Do your best. Do your best.
He said, do your best. But...
Because one day they'll realize that she was just trying to do her best.
Yeah.
It was like this incident.
The mistakes are all part. I told my son, look, man, whatever you didn't get, you ain't getting. But take what I gave you and go conquer the world.
Yeah. Because I did my best.
Exactly.
And I said, and you'll never know. Because we used to play this game. I said, I love you so much. She said, I love you more. I said, that's impossible.
Wow, that's heavy.
I said, that's impossible.
That's a lot of love.
And I said, and you won't know what I'm talking about until you hold yours.
Yeah, exactly. How have you been managing yourself through this pandemic?
It has been,
I know it's challenging for some people.
It's a challenge. I mean, especially at the beginning.
Yeah. And you lost gigs.
And thankfully, they made it so that people who were gig workers could apply for unemployment. I was like, well, I am a business owner. I have an EIN. I have to pay taxes every quarter. Yeah. So why can't I get in on something? Exactly. And it only makes sense.
Yeah. So.
And like I said, through this whole pandemic, I've had people outside of me that would pick the phone up and call me because they know that this is how I make my living.
Yeah.
At one point, because I did work for years, I was saying maybe I should go into my retirement. But when I looked into going to my retirement, they hit you with 40% taxes. Yeah. I said, they take almost 50% if you go, and they don't care nothing about COVID.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And
it's
the
great.
people that have helped me take care of London's Christmas, helped me take care of putting food on the table, helped me, do you need this? Do you
And
need
sometimes
that?
these challenges bring out there's silver linings. You know,
Right.
With myself, I got being introspective, doing this. You know, I mean, I just being creative, being, cause working from home, and it's just.
And I love to cook.
Really?
But before this year, I mean, it wasn't a problem. Okay, let's order out. I want some Chinese tonight. Let's order out and have some. And then last year, I said, well, let's just order out. I got my unemployment. And just for 3 people to order out, it was almost $70.
Yeah.
I said, I can't afford this. And so what I started doing was just getting those cookbooks, dusting them off, and now I'm ready to open my restaurant. I mean, like I said, I've always been able to cook. But now I've opened up another
Avenue,
Yeah,
you
another
might
facet of
develop
myself.
a recipe for something and have your own.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
And you seen Vince Evans?
Yeah,
He
I'm
puts
watching
his
it.
stuff.
Vince is doing his, and it's
Good.
I love it. Shoot, that's what I'm saying, because you learn that, we're more than music. We do more than music. With teachers, with parents, with business people. So, and we have to learn how to
Roll with the punches.
Yeah.
Because if you try to fight
and
the
be
punches,
resourceful
you got to be resourceful.
Yeah.
I remember, I remember one time, it was really bad because, even though we had the option not to pay rent, I said, no, I'm keeping my rent paid because on the other end of that, you got to meet all that rent.
Yeah.
And so it was a real struggle for me.
Gotcha.
And so the food that I had, I made it a point to empty out everything I had in my freezer before I went and bought anything else.
Gotcha.
I said, we can use this.
Yeah.
And so I came up with some miracle meals.
Miracle meals.
Miracle meals. And it was good.
Yeah, Miracle Meals.
Miracle
on
meals.
wheels. Miracle Meals on wheels.
On wheels, yeah. It was a miracle. I was like, that was good.
So what's next for Sharon Clark?
Well, as things are starting to open up, I'm getting some tentative work, and like I said, we don't know what's going to happen. I've had both my vaccines, which is good for me, and I was invited to Estonia for a few jobs there, and of course back to Denmark for some jobs there. Sweden, they're at their half capacity and everything. So we're just going to see what happens, And in October, there's a tour coming up. Down South Georgia, South Carolina, West Virginia, and New York, and so we're gonna see where it lands.
Make it do what it do. There you go.
See where it lands.
And our very last, how can people? You can look at the camera and tell people how can they get in touch with you or learn more about your music and what you're doing and all the wonderful things you're doing. Talk to them.
You can go to SharonClarkJazz.com. There's a whole web page there. You can find out anything you want. It's good for booking, anything. You can contact me on Facebook, Sharon Clark Jazz. Reach out to me if you're wanting to book. I've done things where I've done online where we sent birthday greetings and small concerts as far as Australia. If you have people who are turning ages and you're worried about that, we can do that. And basically, I work a lot through Facebook. So if you friend my friend page, I will friend you back.
Well, darling,
this has been fun.
Yes, it's been very
fun.
enlightening and inspiring.
Yeah.
And you've and I'm sure you're going to inspire a lot of people
Well, I
with
hope
your
so.
story.
I hope so. Keep going.
Yes.
Keep going.
Yes. And I'm thankful. Thank you for coming
for
on.
having me.
Oh,
Thank you.
It's my pleasure.
Oh, thank you.
We wish you all the best.
Yes.
And things.
Things are looking up.
Yeah.
They're looking
so
up.
keep doing what you're doing, and and we. I'll see you at another airport at some point.
Yeah, at some point. Hopefully we won't be able to wear these, but I've gotten kind of used to these now.
Yeah, okay.
And they make sense.
Yeah, okay. Well, there it is. All right. All right, so we've been listening to the lovely, the wonderful Miss Sharon Clark. And fascinating story. So I hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you on the next one.